Good morning and welcome to another exciting world of sport on your channel of choice, Dominion Television. I'm Abe Paul Toluwanimi, and trust me, we have everything tidbit for you. Action, sport, transfer update, back to back, just like you like it. Once again, you're welcome to your channel of choice, Dominion Television. I have Samson Balogun with me this wonderful morning to give us top-notch analysis on the stories making the rounds in the world of sport this wonderful morning. Samson, good morning to you.
Well, good morning to you, Toluwani. It's really nice to be here to talk sports. This is what we do. This is the station where we bring you unbiased analysis and undiluted reportage. Good to be here to talk sports.
All right, yes, sir. Good to be here to talk sport this wonderful morning. And remember, you can join us on all our social media platforms to drop your comments and make sure you're following. Remember, the prediction is coming up today between the Super Falcons of Nigeria and the South Africans. Remember, the WAFCON is very much ongoing, so make sure you're following, make sure you're subscribing. You might just win something right here on the show. Moving away from that, we have the local stories making the rounds this wonderful morning, and we're going to get a story from the camp of Remo Stars, and it says that Remo Stars have been rewarded the sum of 25 million for winning the 2024-2025 Nigerian Premier League football last season. The club chairman, Kunle Sonome, announced the reward during a ceremony held at Remo Stadium on Monday. Midfielder Adedayo Olamilekan received the brand new cap after being named the Sky Blue Stars Player of the Season. Meanwhile, Nigerian National League NNL side Beyond Limit were awarded 5 million for the recent victory at Goita Cup in Sweden. Also, the Nigeria Women Football League NWFL side Remo Stars ladies were also rewarded with a 10 million naira in recognition of their impressive performance last season, which saw them reach the NWFL Super 6 playoff for the first time in their club history. Also, the Sky Blue Stars Supporters Club were also acknowledged with the cash reward of 2 million naira. So let's start from that story. It's Remo Stars, as giving the cash, also the mouth-watering gift for the player of the season. I think for me, it's a good one to see, how far Remo Stars have come, in the NPFL season right there, and having to see them do this. Remember, they're also going to represent us, on the continent. Is this a morale booster for next season? And what should other club also learn from this?
I think it's not just a morale booster. This is Remo Stars trying to become a model for every other football club you find in the NPFL and even the NNL. Don't forget the fact that, Kunle Shoname has been one of the shining lights of Nigerian football, not as a footballer, but as a football administrator, a football club owner who understands what exactly it means to have a football club. This is Kunle Shoname trying to do what FC Ifeanyi could not do consistently till they became what they are now. So it's obviously one of the things we should be looking at. You know a serious football club from their branding. I mean, Remo Stars, came with a lot of vibe, and they have been consistent back to back. They have improved on what they started with. True. And not just Remo Stars, we have had several football clubs that has actually shown exactly what it means to have a football club who understood the business aspect of the game. It's not a good thing to understand, to know that majority of the clubs in the NPFL are owned by states. I mean, the attitude to work, the way things are done, you really cannot get the kind of result you want to get from an African club, from a club, a football club. True. But the truth of the matter is, if you check clubs like Sporting Lagos, if you check clubs like Ikorodu City, these are football clubs that have actually remodeled, the African football. They have shown us exactly what it means to do. We have had a time when football players were, in fact, I don't want to mention the city, but there is a football club owned by a state government whose, players, some of them were unveiled and took pictures right in front of a restroom. So it tells you how badly we have managed, the power of the media. These are things our football clubs are not looking into. Take, for example, Ahmed Musa took over at Kano Pillars not too long ago, and see the kind of deal he brought on board. I mean, with RFI, it shows that their games will be televised and, of course, shown to to more people. And also there is a monument, an agreement that says, you are getting so amount of money in return. So it shows you that if you put the right kind of people in the right places, you are definitely going to get results. But then, if you now look at what Remo Stars is doing right now, it shows that there is a light at the end of the tunnel for African football. They have shown exactly what it means, that if we want to do football, if you actually want to get it right, this is how to do it. You know, giving rewards, a car, for example, to the most valuable, who happens to be the most valuable player last season for the club. That's, for me, that's the height of it all. They have raised the bar so high that whichever football club is going to, you know, emulate or probably that, do better than this, they know exactly what they are aiming for. And that will actually spur other football clubs to look into aspect of monetizing football. Look, we have, you know, the audience, we have the fans who are there, they want to see these games. But because it is not, we have not made football to be that enticing. We have not made football to be that, you know, interesting to the Nigerian people. Take, for example, go to Adama Sigba Stadium. No matter as little as it is, 500 naira for regular ticket, 2,000 naira for VIP, VVIP, I think 5,000 or thereabout. On days when shooting stars are doing really well, you will see people coming out of mass to see the game. It shows that if you are doing the right thing, the people are ready to be there for you. But the truth of the matter is, also, they are talking about, you know, not being able to account for how much is made on match days. I think Remo Stars stopped all that totally. I think Sporting Lagos to Ikorodu City. Even as a media personnel, you cannot get into the stadium unless you have been accredited from home. So you must tell them, oh, I'm coming to see your game, I'm covering this game. And you do that online. So it streamlines and limits the number of unwanted pressmen who are going to get crash and say, oh, we are here, and then they are just occupying the seats. And you know that whichever story they are picking from there, they are using. So these are strategies that an average football club that understands what it means to run a football club to make money. Kunle Shoname has sold so many players to Portugal. And he also has an affiliation with a football club in Portugal. Whether he owns 100% or he partly owns or not, it really do not concern anybody at this time. But the truth of the matter is, the fact that he has taken the African football global. It's one thing that we really should emulate. And other football clubs owned by state government should look into the aspect of, look, it is not just about us sitting down. The attitude of saying, oh, the government money is definitely going to come in, whether we win trophies, whether we win games, whether we get bonuses, really do not concern us. As long as the government gives us a budget every year, then we are okay. No, the attitude has to stop. And that is we are looking into the area of even state government should try as much as possible to set up a private model for their football clubs. Look, yes, we are giving you a budget. Start with this. But most definitely, you know that what you are bringing on board in terms of image rights for the players, in terms of how much you make on match days, in terms of deals you sign with companies as sponsorships, these monies are going to be accounted for. And if you are selling players, account for every dime. We have seen football clubs in Ibadan. I mentioned Ibadan. We have seen football clubs that you just realize the fact that some players are no longer there. And if you ask questions, they will tell you, oh, this so-so person owns the right for a certain player, or okay, we got this player on loan, and then for that reason, we did not get anything for the transfer. Who does that? And then you have a team of 23 players, and you realize the fact that they will tell you, oh, only 10 of them are players, and about 5, 6, 7 of them will leave that team. At the end of the season, they move to a bigger club. But then the truth of the matter is, what is happening with contracts and deals being signed by these players?
Yes, we have so many stories, to look into the local story this morning. But I'm just going to ask you quickly, do you see this as a tool, or a propelling, action that Remo Stars are taking? Can they go ahead to retain, the title just won? And also remember, they're representing us in the continent right there. Do you see them also, giving us that wonderful representation right there, in the continent?
Well, I think one of the things Enyimba enjoyed when Enyimba was still, doing us proud on the African continent was the fact that they were able to keep their best players at the time. They were being paid handsomely well. You once had players like Adele Ayenuba playing for Enyimba. We once had players like Victor Nzeji playing for them. We once had players like even Vincent Enyimba used to be, an Enyimba football player. So it tells you that they were able to retain their best players, pay them well, so that even if they want to leave, they are leaving for the best clubs in Europe. They are not leaving to play for Division 3, Division 4 in other countries like Albania, for example. What are you going there to do? But because the difference in how much they earn here and how much they earn there, look at Nigerian players leaving for Morocco, for Tunisia, for Libya. I mean,
for Iran.
It's actually two of Shooting Stars players went on trial at I think Iraq or Iran during the close of last season before they came back and then but the truth of the matter is, if they were being paid handsomely well for what they do, if their efforts are being recognized and they are getting the kind of publicity they deserve, I think they will be marketed to better clubs. So if a player is leaving your team, it should be for a better team.
Yeah.
But why would a player leave the MPFL, that is considered to be one of the best in Africa, if you don't want to say it's the best, for Morocco, for Tunisia, for Libya, for Mauritania? These are lower leagues. Even Nigerian players travel as far as Seychelles to play. I mean, that's ridiculous. But we can always get there. Remo Stars is setting a trend of consistency. So if they are going to do so well on the African stage, well, I know for sure that it will take them time. Probably they will qualify 2-3 times. They will lose woefully, we understand. But the moment they get used to what it means to play on the African stage, they will understand that, oh, this is what we want to do. Manchester City, for example, when they started, people thought, oh, it was going to be a joke. But when they brought in Pep Guardiola at the end of the day, look at the consistency they have enjoyed, to the extent that they eventually won the trophy they've been looking for. So it's about consistency. It's about the right investment and the right orientation and mindset to do it.
All right. Yes, it's about consistency, the right investment and the right mindset, to do it. So we're wishing big congratulations to everybody, in the Remo Stars team, and also, we're hoping that this can soar them to victory, in the big stage and also for next season. Moving away from that, like I said, we have major stories making the rounds in the world of, the local stories this wonderful morning. Kano Pillars are also in the news. Kano Pillars receive a new kit ahead of the 2025-2026 MPFL season. Kano Pillars has received a new kit ahead of the season. The Commissioner and the Ministry of Youth and Sport Development in Kano, Mustafa Rabiu Kwankwaso, made the presentation of the club management, and is propelling them, saying this handover ceremony would be one to see and look forward to. I remember that Ahmed Musa, is the new management, the chairman of the board right there, and it seems that it's now making good progress. I remember Samson also speaking about that earlier on the show. Moving away from that, still in the local stories, the MPFL Kun Khalifat announced a resumption date for the new season. Remember, they're back to the MPFL, and they're about to do something beyond themselves. So we are hoping to see how far they can go. But right now, they have set their sight to resume on the 28th of July, this coming Monday, at the resumption date for the 2025-2026 season. The club made its announcement on Saturday. So let me ask you something quickly. How do you see Kun Khalifat representing themselves in the MPFL come next season? Quickly.
Well, one of the things I see is the never say die attitude. They've been trying, and eventually they are in the NPFL. And
another private-owned club.
And what I see is the fact that private-owned clubs are taking over. We're having more and more of them in the MPFL. And if they are consistent and they are doing fine, means that one of these days we'll see them push out the state-owned club to the NNL, and then you'll see the private-owned club functioning really well and doing us proud on the bigger stage. But the truth of the matter is, it is not just about the fanfare that we have qualified. It's about the zeal, the passion, getting the right tools, the right set of people, quality players, the coaching crew, and the right field to do it. So if there is necessary funding, just like Remo Stars is being funded, Beyond Limit, Ikorodu City,
Sporting Lagos.
These are football clubs that have actually remodeled what we want to see, and some of them have even exceeded our expectation when it comes to private-owned football clubs. But the truth of the matter is, Kun Khalifat is here, and I know that they know that the task at hand is bigger than just the fanfare and the pictures they're going to take in the MPFL, or the fact that, we are an MPFL football club, but they know that they have to put in the shift. To remain in the MPFL is no joke. Because obviously,
it's a jungle. It's a massive.
Not like every other league where only 3 football clubs get promoted. In the MPFL, it is 4. So it means that it is one additional pressure for the team that qualifies, that you stand a chance of dropping back to the relegation if you fail to do the right thing. But as of now, I know that they are making recruitment. Yes, they had some players who played the the NNL. But apologies to all the players that played in the NNL. Not all of them will be able to function in the NPFL because it's a different ball game, and then the experience is necessary. They have to recruit players with the experience to play in the top flight.
All right. Yes. Okay. Yes. More updates coming up from the local stories. Wiki Tourist head coach Abdul Makaba has been talking about the Giant Elephant progress over the just concluded season and what the fans should be expecting in the upcoming Nigeria Football League. Remember the gain promotion back to the Nigeria Football League after defeating Yobe Desert Warriors 4-0 in the final of the NNL Super 8. So he's talking and he's just so much to say, about the progress of the team, and they're hoping to do, something better in the NPFL come next season. Moving away from that, it's the WAFCON, and where we have the semi-final fixtures are confirmed. The two semi-final fixtures ongoing. The Women African Cup of Nations has been confirmed. And we have the following conclusion for the quarter-final match on Saturday. Ghana needed, a penalties to eliminate Algeria after the game ended goalless in 120 minutes. And the Black Queens will also take host to Morocco in the last 4 in the weekend. The second semi-final will see South Africa take on the Super Falcons of Nigeria. The Bayanas also needed penalties to see off Senegal after the match proceeded on no goals after 120 minutes. So it's massive. It's going to be a big game today. Yes, by 5 p.m. The Falcons battle Bayana for the final spot. The Super Falcons coach Justin Marigo and South African counterpart. Yes, Desire Ellis has fired up ahead of the Women's African Cup of Nations final showdown at Casablanca on Tuesday. Yes, it's going to be a big battle. I'm going to ask Samson. Also, quickly, I'll just go straight to the comment section and let's know your predictions. What do you think is going to win that game between the Super Falcons of Nigeria and the Bayanas of South Africa? I'm going to ask you quickly. Remember, these are the defending champions. And, I think they played 120 minutes. The last match they had right there against Senegal. This is going to be a worry for the South African side. And also, how do you say the Super Falcons? Remember, we are still no goals considered still in this tournament. Do you see us prevailing against the defending champions?
I see the Super Falcons, in the final. But it's not going to be a stroll in the back. Just judging by the fact that they have had their fair share of struggles recently. The last 2 years has been a little bit shaky for the Super Falcons, but thanks to Coach Justin Madugu, who came on board, made some drastic changes, returned some players who were being phased out of the team, dropped some who should have been dropped a long time ago, and now we have, a rejuvenated Super Falcons team, which we are seeing the results now. And I've always said this, I don't know if I am right, but the truth of the matter is when you look at the Super Falcons, majority of the successes they have enjoyed in the last few years, in the last 10, 15 years, you will realize the fact that came when African coaches, especially Nigerian coaches, were at the helms of affairs. And when you look at when the foreign coach was in charge a few years ago to what we have now when Justin Madugu took over, you will know the fact that I think African coaches, Nigerian coaches understand how to make the Super Falcons work more than someone who just comes in and says, look, this is my own prototype, this is my idea, and this is what we have to do. See, you have to work with the qualities and abilities of these players. And if you are not getting it right, I'm sorry, you are not going to get results. As of now, this game is going to come and be a very tough one for the Super Falcons. Judging by the fact that it's a long-standing rivalry between these two teams, especially for, in fact, Nigeria and South Africa, not just Super Falcons and, the Bayana. It has been a long-standing battle between these two teams. And I feel that... even on the global stage of the men's football also, remember it has always been like that. Big deal. It has always been even in the music scene, so Amapiano, several things. To Afrobeat, it's back to back. Right now, if you look at what the Super Falcons are doing, only one draw so far, and that was a 0-0 draw. And then they have had their fair share of good goals scored at this tournament. They have been potent in front of goal, said for one time when the coach probably decided to rotate the team and they were a little bit shy in front of goal. But what we see now is the fact that when they see chances, they're definitely going to convert. And you have players like Aziza Shushoala, Ashida Tajibade, with the experience, and then players like Iezo, Aloze, these are quality players. They play for quality teams across Europe, and you know that when you have these kind of players on the field, there's the tendency of individual brilliance flashing in at any point in time. So there are some players you don't just drop. Because anytime, just like you trying to drop Cristiano Ronaldo from a Portuguese team right now because you think, oh, he's old. But the truth of the matter is, even if he's a shadow on the field of play, still scares some defenders.
True.
And that is the position of Oshoala and Rashida Ajibade.
So are you saying that? So hold on. So are you saying that Azeezat Oshoala should be starting this game against the Banyana Banners? Remember what we saw against Zambia, the Copper Queens. We saw the young guns with the quick feet, having to do battle against the same side. The Copper Queens also having young players in their strides, to see how we could battle with them, and it worked out perfectly. Having to see the likes of Echegini, Okoronkwo, Iyozo, start into that side. Do you think this will still work? Because it looks like you want Justice Madigo to start with Azeezat Oshoala.
The truth of the matter is when you are playing different teams, you set out with different ideas and game plans. These are technical terms that only a person who understands the game will do, and the coach understands this very well. You must have studied, the South Africans. They are pacey teams. They are a pacey team. They have wingers who can run at you. They have strikers who are pointed in front of goal in case you lose sight of, the ball. But now, I think a player like Azeezat Oshoala will pin down probably 2 or 3 players in the South African defense because they know that when she has the ball, anything can happen at any time. But no disrespect to the Jesus of this world who have been starting and been doing really well. But I feel like this has gotten to a stage where experience really counts. You are playing against South Africa. You are perennial rivals, and you know that any slip up, any mistake will result in a loss because whoever scores first in this game might just be the winner. And that's kind of, in a game like that, you need your best legs, you need the quality and the experience on the field of play. But be that as it may, the Super Falcons might struggle a little bit in midfield because the South Africans have very strong midfielders and they know exactly how to run at you. But if they are consistent with their passing from defense down to midfield and attack, do not rush the ball, no long balls, just keep the ball down, then let them run a little bit, do your tiki-taka kind of play, and then get the ball into the box. And if that is done, I am sure that if they see chances, they are definitely going to convert. They have been doing that back-to-back in this tournament. So there's no reason they cannot defeat the South Africans, only if the game plan the coach has in mind actually works.
Okay, so for you right now, having to see how the South African side have been able, to play their games, in this tournament, do you think that going into penalty shootouts will be, one of the mindset of the coach, of the South African side, going into this one? Remember, they had it all to do at the penalty shootout, the last time they faced, their last game against Senegal. Do you think that they can have that, game plan ahead of this one? Remember, they played 120 minutes. Is it also going to be weary for them, with the players, maybe tired legs a little bit, right there? Is that also going to be an advantage for the Super Falcons of Nigeria? And also, the penalty shootout is, like I said, it's going to be a mindset for the South African coach to see how, because it looks like they are better off going into that stage, the penalty shootout, to see how they can hedge out the Super Falcons of Nigeria.
Well, I have always advocated this, that only a reasonable coach will not set out from the word go to actually wait for the penalty. 90 minutes is a long time. Anything can happen within that time. So while you are waiting and they hit you on the counter or probably put the ball in the back of the net, whether by mistake or by, they are doing, you are still going to struggle to get that goal back. And you might not get it back because you cannot start a game being on a defensive mode. All you have to do is, the best means of defending is to attack. So if you attack your opponent, that means that you have the ball. Automatically, they cannot score against you when you have the ball. So it means that you are the one that stands a chance of scoring the goal. So if they are waiting for, the Super Falcons to actually probably hold the Super Falcons until they get to the penalty stage, I think they are going to suffer a lot in that game because it means that they are conceding possession to the Super Falcons. And the Super Falcons actually have players who are pacey. There are still a certain Francisco Odega, right there, who can actually come in and do some magic. We used to have a player like Ebere Oji who is no longer in the team. But there are players who are very good with their feet and they know how to use the ball in the Super Falcons right now. So it's not going to be an advantage because penalty shootout is always the secondary option. If you realize, we cannot get a goal against this team and then we want to stop them from scoring against us, let's throw the game up to 50-50. That's when you think of, let's just hold off until it gets to a penalty. But be that as it may,
that should not be a strategy.
That should not be a strategy for any coach.
All right, yes, I'm moving away from that. We got the report. There are rumors actually that the Super Falcons are forward. Azizat Oshoala has announced retirement from international football. Took over social media on Monday. Oshoala was said to have decided to hang up a booth ahead of the Tuesday semi-final clash against South Africa at the ongoing Women's African Cup of Nations. However, a former media officer of the Super Eagles, Colin Udo, has debunked those stories. Everything was sketchy from the beginning, Udo said in the video on his X page. Azizat Oshoala is too smart to make the announcement the day before a decisive game for Nigeria at the Women's African Cup of Nations. Yes, and it was not on our official page either. So when it's time for Azizat to announce her retirement, she will do that in a much smarter way. So whatever you have been saying or the rumors you have been hearing, it is not true. Azizat Oshoala is not retiring from the Super Falcons.
You see, I know for sure that Azizat Oshoala is too smart, too intelligent to announce her retirement on social media without proper consultation and due diligence. And I see this as the work of some unscrupulous elements to distract the Super Falcons ahead of the semi-final, which is to be played later in the day. But what I see is just a distraction. But the truth is, without fire, there's no smoke. Probably someone eavesdropped on the conversation, after this tournament, I probably might just say my BYE. But the truth of the matter is, regardless of the situation, I know she's too smart to do that at this time. That's total distraction for her, for the team, for the technical crew, and for the Nigerian people. And if that is actually true, she will actually decide after the tournament. I mean, for crying out loud, you are still in the semi-final of the WAFCON, which Nigeria wants to make a statement, win it again, to show the...
and have their hand on the first... I remember, it's a new trophy right now.
It's a new trophy, so they want to win this and say, look, we are the queens of Africa, and we always do this anytime we come on this stage. So it's a distraction, and I don't think Azizat Oshoala is even ready because he's not done winning awards.
Okay. I remember I still Mission X and La Decima is what we are still going for. So please keep supporting the Super Falcons to the very stage of the WAFCON. We are always supporting them. So make sure, I want to see your comment right there. Drop your comment. And remember, we are live. You can also drop your comment and also your predictions. What do you think is going to edge out in this game between the Super Falcons of Nigeria and also the Bayanas of South Africa? Remember, they are the defending champion. I'm going to ask Samson before we wrap up the show his prediction for that game. But moving away from that, let's head straight down to Chan, where Eric Sekou chose to unveil the final Super Eagles B squad. The Super Eagles B head coach Eric Shells is expected to unveil his final 28-man squad for the 2024 African Nations Championship Chan today, following an intensive 2 weeks training camp in Ikenne, Ogun State. A rescheduled continental tournament will take place from August the 2nd to the 30th across the 3 East African countries, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. According to the source within the camp, within the team's camp, actually, the final squad will be selected after concluding a test match today, which will mark the end of the team preparation phase before the departure. Yes, Shells initially invited 35 home-based players to the professional camp, but the member has seen trimmed 5 players down the pecking order. Right now, everybody's under pressure, but definitely the coaches want the best among 35 aside, said Junior Unduka, who captained the team during the qualifying rounds. That's the update. Is back-to-back to see how far we can go in that competition. Despite reaching the final in 2018 and finishing third in 2014, Nigeria has yet to win the Chan title, a record Shells and his squad will be eager to rewrite this year. So let me ask you something. How can we rewrite that story this year?
Well, I think the coach is on the right path because for the first time in a long time, we are seeing the right set of players being invited into the team. Quality players from Remo Stars, Shooting Stars. It's not just about the team you play for. It's about what you bring to the table, the quality on the field of play. And we saw the invite of Mustafa Lawal, the #1 goalkeeper for the Shooting Stars Sports Club of Ibadan. So that was one of the reasons you would have to believe that it's about quality this time. It's not about, we have a player for you, and you have to play so person per time. It's still not like that this time. I think the coach has been given the free hand to do his selection, and he's been given the free hand to send whichever player he feels do not make the cut back home. I know for sure that this is a record the Super Falcons should, the Chan Eagles should be able to break at this time. But do not forget that as of now, majority of our quality players are living in the country for other African countries, which is really disheartening.
Yeah, which even affected, because we got that as some players were in camp already, they got the transfer update
and they had to leave the camp.
They had to leave the camp.
So and then the replacements were called up. So if you had your best in the team and then the best had to leave and then the second best has to come on board, though we know that. In Nigeria and the NPFL abounds, a lot of talented players, quality players that can actually, walk into the team and, make an appearance. But then they can only go with 35, and then the 35 will be pruned down to a certain number just before the competition. And what we have now is just an indication that, well, we just might get to a stage where Eriseku Chels could probably make a difference, do something that has not been done before. Win Chan. Because it's really disheartening and an insult that the Chan Eagles have not really been able to claim the trophy all this while. But let's just keep our fingers crossed. Let's see what will happen and just put the belief in coach Eriseku Chels and his boys who are actually in camp already. And when the final selection comes out, we know that the coach is going to do justice to it and then select the best set of players.
All right, yes, sir. Select the best set of players is what we are looking forward to. But let me let you know that also they're going to face Rwanda giant APR FC in the warm-up class. Right there, the Nigeria Super Eagles will take on Rwanda powerhouse APR FC in a friendly match scheduled for the 29th of July at the Amaoro Stadium. Right there, the encounter forms part of the team's build-up to the 2024 Africans Nations Championship CHAN, which will be jointly hosted by Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. Earlier said, following the friendly, the Super Eagles will head to Zanzibar for their Group D matches, where they set to face tough opposition from Senegal, Congo, and Sudan. Also, let me inform you that APR FC, fresh off a commanding 4-1 victory over the Gazos United in a preseason fixture at the training base, will also see clash to Nigeria, a valuable test, for us right there. So that's the update we are getting from the Chan Eagles. We're hoping for the very best for them, and also we hope that they can clean their hand on this title. Yes, finally. Moving away from that is transfer update, and it's back-to-back, ever buzzing, ever blazing. What you want to hear, what's happening with your team, what's happening with our players across the board. Let me inform you that Ademola Lookman is in the story this wonderful morning, and let me inform you that Inter Milan already improved an offer for Lookman right there. Atlanta already rejected the 45 million bid for the winger right there, but right now it looks like they are now demanded 50 million euros. Do you think that Inter Milan they have, if they want to get Africa's best player, they should be able to pay the money?
You see, one of the challenges African players have faced in recent times is the fact that even despite the quality of play, despite what they bring to the table, they still not get the rating they deserve in terms of transfer market prices, and that is really disheartening. And I feel that going forward, African players should be able to find the right agents who will negotiate for them the right deals. And well, I hope going forward it will happen, because same is happening to Victor Osimhen right now, not being able to go to his preferred team just because he's signed to a particular team, and then that team doesn't want him to come back to Italy for 2 years. I mean, these are deals that really should not happen. I don't see that happening to a European who is about to leave the team. But because African players do not have good representation, and that is one of the challenges they are facing.
Yeah.
Going forward, I feel like they are going to make changes to that. But the issue of Ademola Lookman, he has been in the limelight for some time. And since he left Everton and back to Italy, he has shown a level of consistency that is only can be related to a serious-minded player who wants to play for a serious team that wins trophies.
So let me ask you now. Do you think the Inter Milan is the right club for Ademola Lookman at this point in time? Remember, he's 27 years of age.
Yeah, at this age, I think all he has to do is to play for a team that understands what it means to win trophies. He's not about individual accolade anymore. He's African best. He has won it, and it's not about just him. It's about putting his hand on trophies that has eluded him over time. And this is the time for him to do it, because for an African player at 27 and you are still getting deals like this, I mean, you should just grab it before you start getting offers from Saudi Arabia. So it's a good one that he's getting this offer. And I feel Inter Milan, one of the things they missed last season is the fact that they really do not have a sharp winger who could actually cut in from the side and get them the goals. You realize they relied heavily on the prowess of Lautaro Martinez and Romelu Lukaku for the goals. And I feel that if some of these things are put in place, probably some changes will come on board. When you look at the forwards at Inter Milan, you realize that most of them, I wanted to say Marcus Thuram. So if you look at the current crop of players in attack, you realize the fact that the flair to play from the side is not really there. And Ademola Lookman is one of the players that could actually bring that change they need. They have relied heavily on DeMarco and Dumfries for extra effort in attack, which they have played as wing back. But look, it will never be as smooth as you playing an actual winger in the right places. So if Inter Milan is going for Ademola Lookman, I think this is the right time for them to actually get him, and that will help them going forward. But all in all, I think African players should strive and do well to get good representation. Okay. I mean, the kind of deals they get, and compared to what they can do on the field of play, and compared to their European counterparts, American counterparts, you realize the fact that many a times they are being underpriced, underpaid, and underrated, and that should not happen to an African player, because your quality on the field of play really has to matter. If you check the world right now, the world of football, I don't think you can count 5 strikers that are better than Victor Osimhen. So why is Victor Osimhen going back to Galatasaray if nothing is there? So it's about the zeal to actually get things done. And going forward, I think FIFA should do something about slave contracts being given to African players. Right. It's not done anywhere.
All right. Yes, Samson is really agitated on the situation with Victor Osimhen, and also looking out for African players. We are doing great things across the country. Moving away from that, we're still talking an African player right here, and that is Wilfred Ndidi. Bayern Leverkusen joined Ndidi's chase right there. Bayern Leverkusen are the latest club to express interest in Leicester City star Wilfred Ndidi. Ndidi is reportedly meant to leave Leicester City this summer following the Foxes' relegation from the Premier League. According to reports, from transfer expert Ben Jacob, he has interest from other clubs. Also, Manchester United have already had talks with him. Also, we have Everton and 2 other Premier League clubs, having to approach Wilfred Ndidi. What do you think about that, transfer updates, from Wilfred Ndidi quickly?
I think Wilfred Ndidi, shot himself in the leg when he had offers, I think 2 or 3 years ago and failed to leave.
Actually.
So I
think this idea of them having the offer and stalling the offer, it now becomes a problem for them going forward. Because now, if you look at the situation of, you're speaking about Victor Osimhen, he had the offer before that contract extension. So right now, it's not a problem. Now, you see, Wilfred Ndidi, you're actually right about that. Manchester United, we got the report.
I think 2 or 3 times, they actually asked about him.
And that time, I think he was still in his prime at that time.
Yes, he was doing really well for Leicester City at the time. And for one reason or the other, he decided to, probably look away. Didn't want competition, was too relaxed where he was. I mean, comfort zone for me most times is really an uncomfortable place to be. And that's exactly what happened to him. He left, when he was, while at Leicester City, they were relegated when we then came back. Even at that time, he still had deals, he had offers, he did not leave. And now they are relegated again. And for me, I don't think Ndidi is still the same Ndidi you saw 3 or 4 years ago. The energy has dropped. Probably, whichever team gets him now will not rely so heavily on him playing as a DM. Probably will rely on him playing as a centre-back because he started out, being a centre-back. But then his quality on the ball, his passing accuracy to an extent actually helped propel him, and the energy propelled him to DM. But as it stands, it's his fault, or probably his agent's fault, that he did not get the kind of looking he should be getting. But if this is what is on ground now, I think it is time for him to actually leave. Staying too long in a particular football club really does not favor African players, because by the time they are leaving, they become probably just an option for another team. After they have looked for the kind of player they want and they couldn't find, that's when they
option D, actually, not even option B.
So it's not really good for the African players out there.
All right, yes, so that's all we can take this wonderful morning on Dominion Sport right here on your channel of choice, Dominion Television. But before we go, let me see your predictions right there in the comment section. Remember, we're in YouTube, we're streaming live. Make sure you follow at Dominion Broadcast. It's the handle for you. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you turn on the notification bell. We are active just for you. I'm going to ask Samson quickly your predictions. Just give me your predictions for the game between Super Falcons of Nigeria and also the Banyana Banyans of South Africa.
I think the fact that the Super Falcons have been really watertight in defense so far in this competition, I feel it will be difficult for the Banyana to actually get past them. So it could end in a 2-0 victory for the Super Falcons.
All right, yes, it's going to end up in a 2-0 victory for the Super Falcons of Nigeria. That's all we can take this wonderful morning. Remember, it's Mission X. We're going for the La Decima. Keep supporting the Super Falcons of Nigeria and keep watching Dominion television. That's all we can take this wonderful morning. I remain Abepo Toluwanimi. Thank you, Samson, for having me. Thank you for coming to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
All right, yes, that's all we can take. Have a wonderful day. Stay blessed.